Welcome back to the channel Numisma Hub Coin enthusiasts. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating story of the Lincoln Wheat Penny, a tiny copper coin with a big piece of American history behind it. From its Denver Mint origins to its lasting symbol of post-war pride, this 1-cent piece carries the legacy of Abraham Lincoln and a golden era of American craftsmanship. So sit back and let's uncover the hidden value, history, and beauty of Top 12. First up, the 1951 D Wheat Penny. The 1951 D Lincoln Wheat Penny stands as one of the fascinating coins in American numismatic history. Minted during the post-World War II economic boom, this 1-cent coin carries with it the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, and symbolizes a period of industrial recovery, national pride, and growing prosperity across America. The Wheat Penny series, also known as the Lincoln Wheat Cent, was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head cent and became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. The 1951 D issue continued this proud tradition more than 4 decades later, with Lincoln's dignified portrait designed by Victor David Brenner. The obverse of the 1951 D penny showcases Lincoln's right-facing bust, with the word Liberty on the left and the phrase "In God We Trust" inscribed above his head. Below the date appears the D mint mark, indicating that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the most active mints in the United States during the early 1950s. The reverse of the coin displays 2 stylized stalks of wheat curving around the sides, framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above these words lies the familiar motto EPLURIBUSUNUM, which translates to "out of many one." This design symbolizes agricultural prosperity and unity, fitting themes for a nation rebuilding and expanding in the mid-20th century. The Denver Mint produced an impressive 625,355,000 Lincoln cents in 1951, making the 1951 D one of the higher mintage coins of the series. Despite its large production, collectors value it for its strong strikes, rich luster, and occasional variations in color, especially those displaying deep red or reddish-brown toning that remain highly sought after today. The metal composition of the 1951 D penny follows the standard post-war alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This composition had been used for most wheat pennies since 1909, except during World War II when steel cents were struck in 1943 to conserve copper for the war effort. By 1951, the U.S. Mint had fully returned to the traditional copper blend. The early 1950s marked an interesting period for coin production in America. The Denver Mint, equipped with modernized machinery, produced coins with sharper details than those from previous decades. The 1951 D pennies often feature bold mint marks and crisp details in Lincoln's hair and the wheat ears, qualities that make them favorites among detail-oriented collectors. From a historical perspective, the 1951 D Wheat Penny was minted during a time of global transition. The United States had emerged as a world power after World War II and was entering the early stages of the Cold War. Economic confidence was rising, families were growing, and coins like the 1951 D penny circulated widely in the hands of working Americans across towns, schools, and small businesses. For many collectors, the appeal of the 1951 D penny lies not only in its age but also in its symbolism. It represents a generation that valued hard work, thrift, and patriotism, ideals embodied by President Lincoln himself. Holding such a coin today offers a tangible connection to that era's sense of purpose and progress. In terms of rarity, the 1951 D Wheat Penny is generally considered common in circulated condition due to its large mintage. However, in uncirculated grades, MS65 and above, the coin becomes far more desirable. Coins that retain their original red, RD color, meaning full copper luster, can fetch significant premiums in the collector's market. Some of the most valuable 1951 D pennies exhibit exceptional eye appeal, minimal contact marks, and strong, even color. According to coin grading standards, an MS67 red specimen can command several $100s or more at auction, especially if certified by major grading services such as PCGS or NGC. Varieties and errors also add to the intrigue of the 1951 D penny. Collectors often search for minor die cracks, repunched mint marks RPMs, or off-center strikes that occurred during production. While not as dramatic as the famous 1955 double die cent, certain 1951 D errors can still attract strong interest and raise the coin's value considerably. Over the years, this penny has transitioned from a simple pocket change item to a piece of collectible Americana. Its reddish copper tone, simple wheat design, and portrait of Lincoln make it instantly recognizable and nostalgic for generations who grew up using it. Many young collectors even start their first penny albums with the 1951 D issue. As time passes, the survival rate of fully read, uncirculated 1951 D cents continues to decline due to oxidation and mishandling. Each pristine example that remains preserved today is a small relic of post-war craftsmanship, representing over 7 decades of American history encapsulated in a single cent. Today, the 1951 D Lincoln Wheat Penny holds both sentimental and historical value. For seasoned collectors, it's a cornerstone of the Wheat Penny collection, bridging the gap between the early low-mintage issues of the 1910s and the transitional designs of the 1950s that would soon evolve into the Lincoln Memorial Cent in 1959. In conclusion, the 1951 D Wheat Penny is more than just a coin. It's a living symbol of American resilience and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. Whether found in a coin roll inherited from an old collection or purchased at auction, this humble 1-cent piece continues to tell the story of a nation's journey through change, unity, and progress, all captured within the shine of copper and the mark of Denver's proud D. Next up, the 1952 Wheat Penny without a mint mark is a classic piece of U.S. coinage, representing a period of post-war American stability and growth. When a Lincoln cent lacks a mint mark, it means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not place mint letters on pennies until much later, with the exception of the wartime 1943 steel cents. In 1952, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins, continuing a long-running series known formally as the Lincoln Wheat Cent, which had been in circulation since 1909. These coins featured the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse sculpted by Victor David Brenner, and the classic wheat ears reverse that symbolized agricultural prosperity. By 1952, the wheat design had already been in use for over 4 decades and was nearing the end of its tenure, eventually being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The year 1952 landed squarely in the middle of the post-World War II era, a time when the American economy was booming, families were growing, suburbs were expanding, and the nation was transitioning into modern life. Coin production reflected this economic activity. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck well over 100 million no-mint mark wheat pennies that year. Although high in mintage, these coins were essential to everyday commerce. They were used for newspapers, candy bars, soda, bus fares, and small daily transactions that helped define mid-century American life. Even though their copper value is higher than their face value today, they circulated heavily for decades and were a familiar sight in pockets and cash registers until the wheat design fully disappeared from circulation in the 1970s and early 1980s. The composition of the 1952 penny holds its own place in history. Like other wheat cents of its era, it was struck from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a traditional bronze alloy that gave the coin its warm reddish-brown color. Americans of the time would have noticed that brand new 1952 pennies emerged from the mint with a bright, almost golden luster, while circulated examples quickly darkened into deeper browns as they absorbed oils from handling. This composition also reflects the fact that the U.S. had returned to copper coinage after the 1943 steel penny experiment of World War II, when copper had been temporarily redirected toward war production. By 1952, stable copper supplies allowed the mint to produce abundant, high-quality bronze cents for everyday use, continuing a tradition that lasted until the composition change in 1982. Collectors today view the 1952 no-mint mark wheat penny as a common yet historically meaningful coin. Because so many were produced, circulated examples are generally inexpensive, but higher-grade uncirculated pieces are far more desirable. Mint-state examples with strong luster, clean surfaces, and sharp strike detail, particularly those graded MS65 and above, carry significantly higher values. These coins are often sought after as affordable, accessible representatives of the wheat penny series. They also appeal to collectors who appreciate the nostalgia of old Lincoln cents and the craftsmanship of early U.S. coinage. Even though the 1952 wheat cent is not rare, it remains a piece of classic Americana and a reminder of the era of soda fountains, post-war optimism, and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln in American numismatics. Thank you for reading this complete and detailed history of the 1952 wheat penny with no mint mark, one of the most meaningful and historically rich coins in United States numismatic history. This coin represents an important chapter of post-World War II America, a time when economic growth, stability, and daily commerce shaped the lives of millions. The 1952 Lincoln Wheat Cent, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, reflects traditional American craftsmanship through its bronze composition, sharp design, and long-standing wheat reverse that symbolized national prosperity and agricultural strength. Even though this coin was produced in large numbers, its historical background, design legacy, and connection to everyday life make it special for collectors and history lovers alike. Studying such coins helps us understand how small everyday objects can carry deep historical meaning over time. We truly appreciate your interest and support in learning about classic U.S. coins like the 1952 no-mint mark wheat penny. Your curiosity encourages the preservation of numismatic knowledge and helps spread awareness about the value of historical coins beyond just money. Whether you're collecting for passion, education, or investment, every old coin tells a unique story shaped by its era, its people, and its journey through circulation. We hope this detailed explanation added real value to your understanding and inspired you to continue exploring rare and vintage coins. Please continue to support and share such educational content, and stay connected for more in-depth histories, market insights, and collector guidance on American and world coins. Your support means a lot, and it motivates us to bring you more accurate, well-researched, and meaningful coin-related information in the future. Next up, the 1953 D wheat penny is part of the long-running Lincoln Wheat Cent series, officially known as the Lincoln Wheat Reverse Cent, which the United States Mint struck from 1909 to 1958. This coin series was created to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, and was historically significant because it was the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real person instead of symbolic imagery. The obverse portrait of Lincoln was designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB appear on many issues. By the time the 1953 D coin was struck, the Wheat Penny series had already become a familiar part of American life, used daily in stores, banks, and households in the post-World War II economy. The 1953 D wheat penny was minted at the Denver Mint, which can be identified by the small D mint mark placed just below the date. The early 1950s were a time of large-scale coin production in the United States, driven by economic expansion following the war, the baby boom, and growing consumer activity. As a result, the Denver Mint produced a very high number of pennies in 1953, tens of millions, making the 1953 D a common date for collectors. Despite being relatively common, it represents the distinctive charm of the wheat year reverse, a design created by Brenner to symbolize national agricultural strength. The reverse shows two stylized wheat stalks framing the denomination 1 cent, and the country name along with the motto EPLURIBUSUNUM. From a historical perspective, the 1953 D cent reflects America's transition into the Cold War era. Coins like this circulated heavily during a period marked by rapid modernization, rising industry, and widespread use of the penny as everyday currency. These coins were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which had been the standard composition since 1909, with the exception of the 1943 steel cents. Because copper was inexpensive and the penny's purchasing power was still meaningful in the early 1950s, the wheat cent remained an essential part of commerce. A single cent could buy small candies, newspapers sometimes cost a few cents, and vending machines often accepted pennies, making them necessary for daily transactions. Although the 1953 D wheat penny is not rare, it holds strong historical value because it comes from the final decade of the wheat reverse design. In 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint replaced the wheat ears with the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, ending nearly half a century of the original symbol. For collectors today, the 1953 D coin is often found in circulated condition, showing decades of wear from the years it spent changing hands. High-grade uncirculated examples, however, are admired for their bright red copper color and sharp details, making them desirable additions to Lincoln cent collections. Many collectors appreciate the 1953 D for what it represents, a living piece of American history. Today, the 1953 D wheat penny continues to be a popular coin among those who study U.S. numismatics. It serves as a reminder of America's post-war growth, the importance of the Lincoln cent in American culture, and the long legacy of the wheat-ear design. Whether discovered in an old jar of pennies inherited from a relative or purchased as part of a collection, the 1953 D stands as a symbol of everyday American life in the 1950s and a connection to one of the most iconic coin series the United States has ever produced. When it comes to market value, a circulated 1953 D wheat penny typically sells for a few cents to around 25 cents, mainly for its copper content or as a filler coin in collections. Uncirculated examples can range from $1 to $10 depending on condition. High-grade red specimens graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC can reach $30, $150 or more, especially in MS66 or higher. Error coins or exceptional strike quality examples may sell for even higher prices at auction. Collectors appreciate the 1953 D wheat penny not because it is rare, but because it represents an important era in American history. It connects the early 20th century origins of the Lincoln cent with the modern coinage that followed. For beginners, it is an excellent and affordable entry into coin collecting. For advanced collectors, it fills an essential slot in complete Lincoln wheat cent sets. Its historical background, classic design, and copper composition continue to make it a favorite among numismatists around the world. Next up, the 1956 D wheat penny, minted in Denver, stands as one of the final chapters in the legendary wheat cent series that ran from 1909 to 1958. By the time this coin entered circulation, the United States Mint had already begun transitioning into a modern post-war era of mass production, and the 1956 D cent reflects this shift with its remarkably high mintage and widespread distribution. Although it was never intended to be rare, the coin today holds strong historical value because it represents the closing period of the beloved Lincoln wheat ear design, which had already become an American numismatic icon for nearly 5 decades. Its placement near the end of the wheatback era gives it a nostalgic importance, especially to collectors seeking late-series coins preserved in beautiful condition. On the obverse of the 1956 D wheat penny, Victor David Brenner's classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln remains unchanged from the original 1909 design. This sculpture was created to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. By 1956, Lincoln's profile had become one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. The details of the hair, coat, and facial features on these late-series cents are typically sharper and more refined due to improved minting technology. The D mint mark, placed just below the date, signifies that the coin was minted in Denver, a facility known for producing crisp, well-struck coins during the 1950s. The reverse of the coin features the famous wheat ear design, with 2 stylized wheat stalks curving along the sides to frame the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. This design symbolizes American agriculture, strength, and economic growth during the early 20th century. Above the lettering, EPLURIBUSUNUM reinforces the national motto. In 1956, the Mint was preparing to soon replace this reverse with the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959, making the late 1950s wheat pennies a significant transitional period in U.S. numismatic history. The 1956 D cent therefore captures one of the last years of this classic agricultural symbolism before the shift to a monument-themed coin. The historical context of the 1956 D penny is rooted in a booming American economy. The United States was experiencing post-war prosperity, population growth, and widespread industrial expansion. This economic environment fueled the massive production of coins to meet circulating demand, leading to the extremely high mintage of the 1956 D wheat cent, over 1.09 billion coins. This enormous production ensured that the coin was common in circulation for many decades. Even today, it is still found in old collections, jars, and coin rolls, showing how deeply it became woven into everyday American life. Despite its high mintage, the 1956 D wheat penny remains interesting for collectors due to several noteworthy die varieties and striking issues. Among these, repunched mint marks (RPMs) are the most famous. During the 1950s, mint marks were still applied by hand, meaning slight shifts or doubling could occur. As a result, collectors can find versions with visible extra impressions of the D mint mark, some subtle, some dramatic. These RPM varieties can elevate the value of otherwise common coins, especially in uncirculated grades. Minor die cracks, die chips, and other small minting anomalies also appear on some examples, adding additional collector interest. In terms of rarity, circulated 1956 D wheat pennies are very common, but high-grade uncirculated specimens, especially ones in brilliant red RD condition, are much harder to locate. Copper darkens over time, so finding coins that still possess their original fiery mint luster requires careful searching or acquiring pieces preserved since the day they were minted. The difference between a brown BN, red-brown RB, and red RD surface is significant in the coin market, often separating a low-value coin from one worth many multiples of its typical price. This makes condition one of the most important factors when evaluating this particular year. From a market perspective, most circulated examples of the 1956 D penny hold modest monetary value, generally worth a small premium above face value. However, sharply struck uncirculated examples, especially those graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC, can command much higher prices. In extremely high grades like MS66, MS67, or with exceptional eye appeal, the coin becomes far more desirable. This is because even though the mintage was huge, only a small percentage survived with perfect surfaces, no spots, and full original red luster. Some top-graded examples have sold for impressive amounts in auctions due to their flawless preservation. Collectors appreciate the 1956D wheat penny, not only for its availability, but for its role in teaching beginners about die varieties, minting errors, and copper preservation. Its affordability makes it a perfect entry-level coin, yet its higher grade and variety examples offer depth for advanced collectors as well. Many hobbyists consider the 1956D an essential final decade piece in any complete wheat cent collection. Its blend of historical relevance, strong design, and the charm of late-series copper coins keeps it constantly in demand. The legacy of the 1956D wheat penny continues today as a reminder of America's mid-20th century identity. It represents a time when pennies still held purchasing power, when American coinage celebrated simplicity and agricultural heritage, and when the wheat cent design was nearing its end after nearly 50 years of circulation. Though it may not be a rare treasure, it is a beloved relic of its time, one that bridges the gap between the classic wheat ears and the modern Lincoln memorial design that followed shortly thereafter. In conclusion, the 1956D wheat penny stands as both a common yet historically rich piece of American coinage. It honors Lincoln's legacy, reflects the mint's industrial advancements of the era, and holds strong collector appeal due to varieties, high-grade examples, and its position near the end of the wheat series. For anyone building a wheat penny set, exploring copper coinage, or appreciating mid-century American history, the 1956D remains a fascinating and rewarding coin to study, preserve, and enjoy. The 1957D wheat penny, struck at the Denver Mint, represents one of the final chapters in the long and iconic run of the Lincoln wheat cent series, a design that had circulated in American pockets since 1909. By the time this particular coin was minted, the wheat penny had already become a familiar symbol of American life, cherished for its simplicity and everyday usefulness, while also reflecting nearly half a century of national economic changes. The year 1957 sits near the end of the wheat reverse era, which would be replaced only 2 years later in 1959 with the Lincoln memorial design. Because of this, the 1957D issue embodies a blend of nostalgia and transition, linking the earlier decades of American coinage with the modern era that would follow. Historically, the 1950s were a period of renewed American growth, and the nation was booming economically after the challenges of World War II and the Korean War. Consumer spending was rising, new industries were emerging, and the United States was becoming a global superpower. The Denver Mint, known for its high-volume production, played a major role in meeting the rapidly increasing demand for circulating coins. This environment explains why the 1957D wheat penny was produced in massive quantities, serving the expanding American economy and keeping pace with the growing population and commercial activity. Even while millions of Americans handled these cents every day, the coins also subtly carried forward the long-standing tradition of honoring Abraham Lincoln, symbolizing unity and national pride. On the obverse, the 1957D wheat penny features the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The portrait had remained virtually unchanged since 1909, and its elegant simplicity allowed it to transcend generations. Lincoln's portrait represented not only his historical significance, but also America's reverence for freedom, justice, and leadership. Above his bust appears the motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that had become increasingly meaningful in the context of the Cold War. To the left of the bust stands the bold word liberty, and to the right is the date 1957, accompanied by the D mint mark, identifying Denver as the birthplace of the coin. The reverse of the 1957D penny showcases the beloved wheat ear design, another Brenner creation. Two perfectly curved wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, acknowledging agriculture as one of the driving forces behind the nation's development. This imagery was more than decorative. It symbolized growth, nourishment, and the deep agricultural roots that supported early American society. The motto, EPLURIBUS UNUM, sits above the design, expressing the unity of the United States during a time when international tensions made national cohesion more important than ever. This classic reverse, simple yet powerful, had become deeply ingrained in American culture by the late 1950s. The mintage of the 1957D wheat penny was extraordinarily high, with over 1 billion coins struck, making it one of the most abundant wheat pennies ever produced. This massive production ensured that the coin would circulate widely across the country, appearing in countless transactions, from grocery stores to gas stations to school cafeterias. As a result, most surviving examples are common, especially in worn condition. However, despite its overall high mintage, the coin still remains significant to collectors because it represents the end of an era. Collectors often find charm in the coins minted during the final years before the historic wheat design was discontinued. In terms of rarity, the 1957 D penny is generally considered a regular issue coin with no major scarce varieties. But what does attract collector interest are the high-grade mint state examples, especially those with bright red RD luster. These well-preserved coins are often taken from original Bancroft rolls or old coin hoards that managed to survive for decades without exposure to air or circulation. Such specimens can be surprisingly beautiful, showcasing sharp details in Lincoln's portrait and crisp definition in the wheat stalks on the reverse. The challenge for collectors is not finding a 1957 D penny, but finding one with exceptional eye appeal, minimal marks, and bold original color. From a market standpoint, circulated 1957 D wheat pennies hold modest monetary value due to their abundance, but their historical and sentimental worth is far more than their face value. Uncirculated and red gem examples, on the other hand, can command significantly higher prices among collectors because of their rarity and pristine condition. The demand for high-grade wheat pennies continues to rise as more collectors focus on building complete date-and mint mark sets featuring the final years of the Lincoln Wheat series. For many collectors, owning a stunning 1957 D coin is an opportunity to capture the beauty of a once common cent in its finest preserved form. Another fascinating aspect of the 1957 D wheat penny is its role in storytelling. People who grew up in the 1950s often remember finding wheat pennies in their pocket change, which is why this coin inspires nostalgia and fond memories. Today, young collectors who discover this coin are struck by the contrast between its age and its familiar Lincoln design, illustrating how some elements of American coinage remain timeless. Many collectors enjoy the idea that the pennies sitting in their albums once traveled through the hands of Americans during a transformative decade marked by rock and roll, space exploration, and rapid cultural evolution. The 1957 D also appeals to metal composition enthusiasts because it still carries the classic bronze alloy used for most wheat pennies. Composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the coin offers a warm reddish-brown color that naturally ages into various tones depending on storage and circulation. This composition gives the coin durability and a distinctive charm that many modern copper-plated zinc cents lack. The feel, weight, and appearance of these older bronze cents remind collectors of a time when even the smallest denomination carried a sense of craftsmanship and character. In the broader context of American numismatics, the 1957 D wheat penny serves as an important historical marker. It symbolizes not only the conclusion of the wheat series, but also the enduring legacy of Lincoln's portrait, which continues to adorn the 1-cent coin to this day. Its placement near the end of the wheat era makes it a key piece in any serious Lincoln cent collection, and its widespread availability ensures that collectors of all levels, from beginners to experts, can enjoy owning and studying the coin. Whether kept for its history, its design, or its nostalgic appeal, the 1957 D remains a cherished relic of mid-20th century America. Next up, the 1958 D wheat penny holds a very special place in American numismatic history because it represents the final year of the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which had been in continuous production since 1909. Struck at the Denver Mint, this 1-cent coin carries the D mint mark just below the date on the obverse. The wheat penny design was created by sculptor Victor David Brunk, and it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person, President Abraham Lincoln. By 1958, the wheat cent had already become one of the most familiar and widely circulated coins in American daily life, symbolizing stability, tradition, and the economic resilience of the United States during the mid-20th century. The 1958 D issue stands out because it marks the closing chapter of the wheatier reverse before the U.S. Mint transitioned to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The obverse front of the 1958 D wheat penny features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, showing strong detail in the hair, coat, and facial structure. Above Lincoln's head appears the motto, "In God We Trust," while the word liberty is placed on the left side. The date 1958 appears on the right, with the D mint mark just below it, indicating production at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The engraving quality of late-series wheat cents is often sharper than earlier years due to improved minting technology, making well-preserved examples visually attractive. Lincoln's portrait on this coin reflects dignity and leadership, reinforcing why this design remained popular for so many decades. The reverse back of the 1958 D cent displays the iconic two wheat ears, one on each side, framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Across the top is the Latin motto E Pluribus Unum. The wheat ears symbolize prosperity, agriculture, and the Hudwakung foundation of the American economy. By 1958, this reverse design had become deeply associated with American heritage and nostalgia. Because it was the final year of the wheat design, many collectors intentionally saved 1958 D coins, anticipating the design change the following year. In terms of composition, the 1958 D wheat penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it a rich reddish-brown tone when uncirculated. Each coin weighs 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19.05. These copper cents were produced before the rising metal prices of the 1960s and 1970s forced the U.S. Mint to change compositions. As a result, older wheat pennies like the 1958 D are often valued not only for collectability but also for their traditional copper content. The mintage of the 1958 D wheat penny was extremely high, with approximately 800 million coins struck, making it one of the most common wheat cents in existence. Because of this large production, the coin is not considered rare in circulated condition. However, its historical importance as the last Denver-minted wheat cent gives it lasting appeal. Many Americans who lived during that era remember seeing these coins regularly in circulation, which adds emotional and nostalgic value beyond rarity alone. Despite its high mintage, condition plays a major role in determining the value of a 1958 D wheat penny. In heavily circulated grades, the coin is usually worth only a small premium over face value. However, uncirculated examples, especially those with strong original red color designated as RD, can command higher prices. Coins graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services are especially desirable, as they show sharp details, clean surfaces, and strong luster. Some top-grade specimens have sold for impressive prices due to collector demand for final-year wheat cents. Error coins and varieties from 1958 D also attract attention. While major varieties are limited compared to earlier wheat cents, collectors sometimes find die cracks, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, or weak strikes, which can increase value depending on severity and eye appeal. These mint errors provide an exciting opportunity for collectors to discover something unique within an otherwise common date. Historically, the 1958 D wheat penny reflects the economic confidence of post-World War II America. The late 1950s were a time of industrial growth, rising consumer culture, and expanding infrastructure. Coins minted during this period circulated heavily in everyday commerce, passing through countless hands in shops, schools, and households. As such, the 1958 D cent serves as a small but meaningful artifact of mid-century American life. From a collector's perspective, the 1958 D wheat penny is often recommended as a starter coin for beginners and an essential piece for completing a full Lincoln wheat cent set. Its affordability, availability, and historical importance make it a favorite among hobbyists worldwide. Many collectors aim to own both the 1958 D and 1958 P issues to complete the final year of the wheat design before the Lincoln Memorial Reverse began in 1959. In conclusion, the 1958 D wheat penny may not be rare, but its historical importance, classic design, copper composition, and role as the final Denver-minted wheat cent give it lasting significance. It represents the end of an era in U.S. coinage and remains a beloved collectible for both new and experienced numismatists. Whether found in old collections, inherited jars, or purchased for display, this coin continues to tell the story of American tradition, craftsmanship, and history in a small yet powerful form. Thanks for watching this detailed history of the 1958 D wheat penny. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin history content.